I'm happy with that answer. I feel like that was a very full and complete answer. I'm cool with it. We mentioned Barrylane. So this is more of a quicker type question. And I'm like I said, I have an interview set up with him next week. I'm excited to sit down and pick his brain. What my question to you about him, or in a way about him, is on your perspective of labels outside of the US. And what I mean by that is you mentioned Barrylane, you go to a comment section, all you hear is this is the Nigerian Kendrick Lamar, right? And for every artist, when an international act discovers them, they become the Nigerian version of this, the South African version of this, the Ghana version of this, right? How does, like, in my brain, I get it because we use these type of comparisons to drive points home. I'm guilty of it myself when trying to explain it to somebody else. As an artist perspective who becomes the subject of these type of things, does that make you feel type when you hear M.I is the Nigerian Jay-Z or something like that? Does that make you feel a type of way negative? Does that make you feel good? Is it like, yes, like I'm now in that conversation? Is it like I'm not the Nigerian Jay-Z? I am just M.I? Like what is, as I'm a commentator, I have to speak on this stuff a lot, and I'm probably someone who has also fucked up, and you know what I mean? And I'm sure I've offended somebody at some point in time. I want to hear from your perspective, how is it internalized on the receiving end?
And I have an answer that's a metaphor. It's a parable. You know, when people hear a song, sometimes my songs are an answer to a question that I've been working on for a long time. And the answer to this question is a song. The answer to the song is that one of my first songs, I said, his friends call him judo. That made me study a little bit about what judo is. Just that little line. And I never knew why I paid attention to it up until this moment. I had that learning to be able to say this answer to you now. You know, have you watched Slumdog Millionaire? Where all these random moments, you don't know what they mean, and then it shows up on a game show. You have all the answers because you had all these unique experiences. In judo, you don't get to decide how your opponent fights you. What matters is how you react to it. Whatever they say about you, we have to understand what hip-hop is for. Hip-hop is for a culture of people that are trying to make something of themselves against the worst odds. If the odds against you, Barrylane, are that people call you the Nigerian Kendrick Lamar, you choose how you react to it. You can choose to make your version of every single Kendrick Lamar song that happens after now, till the day that Kendrick Lamar says, whoa. Nothing they say to you can hurt you if you choose how to react to it. That's the same thread from the answer with Lakon. We can choose. And so I say that to say, what is important is that they notice you. Then you can choose why they notice you. Because in life, we spend so much time worrying about the cards we're dealt, as opposed to understanding the cards have been dealt, you still got to play the game. So let's look at the cards and let's start to play the game. You know? And so I say that because Barrylane is such an amazing rapper. And I think that what he's doing and what people are hearing is something that is actually musicality. It's not like he actually sounds like Kendrick. It's like Kendrick is one of the greatest of all times. And he can do the same thing. I'm that great. I can do the same thing as Kendrick. And now, people have a reaction to that. You can choose what you want to do with that. You can choose to say, I am not Kendrick Lamar and spend time. You can choose to say, I'm going to lean into it until Kendrick Lamar notices me. You know, I remember that there was an artist called Him that was mirroring her. I think
Interesting.
remember.
I never heard of that.
I think on the Joe Budden podcast, I remember talking about that for a while. He was just, but even her, this is not her first iteration. She tried the first thing, and people reacted to it, and then you look at it, and you say, "What am I going to do with the reaction?" Look at Tiana Taylor. This is how I want to show up, and then the world says, "No, that's not what we want from you." You look at it. So, one of the things when I watch, like, I say this because I realize we're not just talking about music. We're talking to people. People are listening to this because they have a sense of community. I do want to share, like, the real lessons I've learned about life with people. And so, when I listen to, like, LeBron and Kobe said I wanted 8 rings. So do you know what I did? I woke up every day and I fought for 8 rings. That was my goal. And when I was done, I had 4. And people ask me, do you regret? He's like, what is there to regret? I set a goal and I went for 8. Sometimes it's not up to you what happens. But what is up to you is how you react, you know? And if there's any value for anyone, because this thing happens a lot. It happened to Vector early on. It happened to me. They will try and find you and put you in a box. Oh, you're just trying to be like, it's an easy thing for human beings to do. So they just understand what's happening. You know, you can then choose to stay in that place. And you touched on it with Foster. You know, you talked about accepting where you are and using that as power. We get upset sometimes with how they treat rappers. And when I did the tweet about, like, Rick Ross, and the point I was making was, when they asked me to come to the event, I was like, I don't want to go to the event. I want Rick Ross to come to my house. It's what I want. People could say,